Good evening. Welcome to Po Man's Fitness. This is my first foray into YouTube. I hope you're doing great tonight. And it's a little cold on a November evening here in South Carolina. My channel is going to be focused primarily on bodybuilding, fitness, supplementation, nutrition, and how to get the most out of your fitness program. Over 40. Let's say I'm 44 years old. I've been doing fitness for about 25 years. And I love it. So I want to impart some of that knowledge onto you. I'm also a health and fitness coach, so if you're interested in getting coaching online, please give me a call or email me at andyorwig@gmail.com or hit me up on YouTube and let me know if you're interested. But interestingly enough, after last week's events, I had to post something about what's going on in today's world. So and what it might do to your mindset. So let's get started. So last week was unprecedented. I mean, this entire year has been insane from the get-go. Even last year, we were always wondering, what's going to happen and who's going to be the nominee and who's going to run and what's going to happen to our country if either one of these people get elected. At first it was Biden and somebody we didn't know. Then it was Biden and Trump again. So we went there. If you ask me, it was already panned from the beginning. It just seemed too convenient. Whatever side of the political spectrum you sit on, what happened during the previous administration just blew my mind. I never thought in my whole life I would ever see something of that discord take place on American soil. It's something you read about in history books and television and movies and stuff like that. You see this stuff and you're like, oh, well, that could never happen here. And it did. By the hands of our own leaders. And what made no sense to me, and again, I'm not trying to be one side or the other here, is that no one stopped it. No one on their side tried to stop it. They cheered it on. And then the other side was appalled, but they didn't push hard enough back to make anything real happen. So in the end, there were no consequences for what occurred. The people who actually did what happened on January 6th were convicted and arrested. But something I could never figure out was, why wasn't the person that instigated the damn thing indicted and arrested on the whole charges? And it came down to our government protects its own. So it bothered me at the time. It still bothers me today. Whether it had been a Democrat or a Republican who did it, which the Republican did it, let's be honest. But if a Democrat did that, I'd be just as appalled. I would be just as furious and confused and upset and wondering why they weren't put through the ringer, legally. Why they weren't sent to the gallows for treason, for what they did. It'll always be a mystery to me. I'll never fully understand it. I mean, to the day I die, I don't think I'll fully understand it, other than to say the corruption is so deep in our government that they don't want to prosecute their own. They don't want to prosecute each other because they all have dirt on each other, and it would ruin their careers. And they're not out for you and me. So, fast forward to now, a week from past the election of 2024. I've paid a lot of attention this past year to what's been going on. We had Joe Biden and Trump running against each other, and I thought that was a horrible choice. I thought both sides were ridiculous for what they were trying to do. And I thought maybe Joe Biden has a chance at a second term if he even wants one, but he was sort of forced into it because of who Trump was. I don't think he wanted to run. I don't think he had any intentions of running. But because of circumstances surrounding the whole thing, I think he felt compelled to run. He had a great record. You got to look at the unemployment record. The the way he brought down inflation. It went from 9% to, what is it, 2.7% today, which is phenomenal. Unemployment's down. Yes, everything is more expensive, but there's other factors involved in that. Gas prices are down below $3 here in South Carolina, so I can't say much about that. $2.69 last night when I filled up, so they're already as low as they're probably going to go. But we're exporting more oil now than we ever have in our country's history. We're doing more onshore drilling and things like that. So I don't know what the whole deal was with what Biden did bad. He may not have been aggressive enough to beat Trump, but I also think that he was doing a pretty darn good job with the mess he had to clean up from the last time somebody was in office. But it wasn't enough. And so he felt compelled at that time, because he wasn't really healthy enough maybe, to step down. And he appointed his vice president, Kamala Harris, as the running mate, or the running nominee. Everybody embraced it on her side, and she ran with it. And as weak of a campaign, I guess, as you can say, she ran, but look at the time she had. In 100 days, she had very little time to raise a lot of money, and she raised over $1 billion. I mean, that's incredible to me. I think in the last 3 days of the election, in the campaign rather, she ran like almost $1 billion in donations then. So to do that in 100 days is incredible. It's amazing. But that said, it wasn't enough. And in the end, the country elected Donald Trump again. If you want my personal opinion, I thought it was selected from the get-go. Not that it was fixed. I'm not saying anything about that. No conspiracy theories here. I'm not that kind of person. The media, Trump is a darling. He brings in tons of ratings. He brings in a lot of money, a lot of ad revenue. And it's the Howard Trump syndrome. If you've ever seen the movie Private Parts, they hate Howard Stern because they want to know what he says. That's why I listen to him. And they also love him because they want to know what he say next. It's the same thing with Donald Trump. They hate him, but they want to watch him because they want to know what he'll say next. They love him because they want to hear what he'll have to say next, no matter how outlandish and how crazy it is. And everything that I heard from him was word salad. I didn't hear, the entire time he was running, was he bashed America. Let's be fully honest. He bashed the United States very hard. He called us a garbage can. He called us a shithole. He basically bashed America, said it was horrible, everything was going to hell, everything was this and that. And but he can say all that, but he didn't have one concise policy that I heard that was going to change it all. So he didn't sway my opinion on him. I thought for sure that, of all things, policy was going to rule over propaganda, rhetoric, and verifiable lies. I was wrong. I say that now. As a man of integrity, I can say right now that I was wrong. 51% of the country, 5 million over the popular vote. The Electoral College was a sweep. I mean, 312 to, was it 226? It was a sweep. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the election, about how you feel it's so odd, this and that, you can make every conspiracy theory you want, but in the end, it was a red sweep. It really was. The red wave that was supposed to come in 2022 materialized itself in 2024. By all means, the red states and MAGA and the Republican Party and the Republican voters who aren't MAGA even, who voted across ticket lines, they kicked the Democrats' ass. They did. They wiped the floor with them. It's hard to understand still why. I I try to understand. I'm trying my best to put myself in their shoes. And as a man who wants peace in this country and prosperity and balance and not have to worry about what the hell our government is doing left and right, taking our rights away here, taxing the crap out of us there. I want small government. I don't want big government. Nobody wants big government. But 51% of the country just voted for a massive government. A massive government. Massive. If he hits his way, the amount of oversight, the amount of change, the amount of social, economic, psychosocial, socioeconomic change that's coming our way is frightening. It's frightening. And I'm not saying that as a man who's afraid of Donald Trump. I'm afraid of a man, literally, and I'm going to bash him a little bit here. He didn't portray to me a man who has strength. He didn't portray to me a man who has integrity. He didn't. Whenever you push back on him, and I will tell you, as my profession during the day, I am a safety manager. I get up in front of people all the time and do presentations. I present data. I present real facts. I present monetary facts. I present safety facts, incident rates, things that are factual things. And I also do training. I do OSHA training for my employees. I do live trainings for my employees. And sometimes they will push back. Do you know what I do in those situations? I listen to them. I understand where they're coming from. I try to listen to what they have to say and either provide a logical, rational answer to it, or I say, I will find out for you. Trump, when he got pushed back on, you know what his answer was? You're just being nasty. I don't understand how you could ask such a nasty question. That's not a leader. A leader is someone who takes criticism, absorbs it, understands where it's coming from, and then gives them a rational answer back. Or says, I will find out for you and I will get you answers. A leader is someone who doesn't need to impose mass will of their own to appease a party or to appease a movement or a base, because they need to have them under their thumb so much that to have total control. That's not a leader, everybody. And now, I can see somewhere people online regretting their votes, regretting what they did, regretting tearing their families apart. And I can only say this, and I'm saying this with all the sincerity in my heart. You cannot blame anyone now but yourselves. And I wonder now if anything that's done in the future now, I wonder if any act he does, anything he does that's going to be negative for the country, and who knows? I mean, we don't know yet. We won't know for another 12 weeks, 8 weeks, what he's going to do, or what he's going to be able to do. If anybody's going to check him, if anybody's going to stop him. And if the answer is no, and shit hits the fan, I want you who voted for Trump, and you can obviously tell by now my bent is I didn't vote for Trump, because I didn't see him as a leader. I saw him as a fearful-minded person who literally had people in his back pocket, who didn't have the best interest of the country at heart. Regardless of how you see Kamala Harris, I saw in her integrity. But that said, going on what I was saying, if shit hits the fan, if the country's completely divided, if he does go through with these mass deportations and massive tariffs, and I hope to God you know what a tariff does and what a tariff, how it works, because I'm not about to explain it to you. You should do your own homework. You should have done your homework 2 weeks ago, but you didn't. When companies start leaving this country because it's cheaper to produce where they are, and they will not come to us. They're not going to magically pull up their factories and plop them over here because Trump put a tariff on them. No. No. They're going to pass the cost on to you and me. 20, 25%, 60%, whatever he pulls out of his butt. So I hope somebody's there to check him. But you did this to yourselves. Another reason I voted for Kamala Harris this time, and remember, we're always sidelined, guys. We're always siloed into two people. Okay? It's not because I'm a Democrat. It's not because I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. But because we're cycled between these two people, we had to choose. We had to choose two. One of two. And that's the choice we were given. And I feel like I still chose the right one. I always will. I hope you understand when you look in the mirror, you can only blame yourself. And I'm terribly sad for this country. I'm sad for the states that now have to go into extreme emergency planning mode to prepare for this man. The countries out there who are meeting right now with their parliaments and their special sessions to prepare for Trump and what they're going to do to possibly oppose him. What our own military is also preparing to do in case he orders attacks on his own citizens. I'm not scared of Trump. I'm scared of the people that said yes to him. Because I don't know how they sleep at night. The American experiment, for what it is, for the next 8 weeks, still alive. It's still alive. The results of the election will not change. So those of you outside of this video and outside of this discussion, you will never in your life see this result change. I don't care if Kamala Harris comes out there and says, boof, we have this proof of fraud, we have this proof of this or proof of that. Nothing's going to change. Because guess what? He's got the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court. It's a done deal, guys. It's a done deal. My fiance is terrified. She's Latino. She's a legal citizen, but she's terrified. Her family is terrified. And rightfully so. I don't know what... I still don't know what you saw in this man. I don't. I'll never understand it. You could explain it to me in massive, massive detail, and I'll still never understand it. You bought and sucked up every one of his lies, his grift, his immoral character, his felonies. He's a felon. F-E-L-O-N. Felon. And so now you've proven to us that the rule of law doesn't mean anything to you. You're already out there saying things like, women's bodies, our choice. You're already out there saying things like, deport them all. Or kill them all. It's all over social media. I don't know where these people crawled out of. I thought, and I really thought, I was wrong. Okay? I'm going to tell you this right now. I was wrong to think America was at least smart enough and good enough to repudiate this man and these policies, which might have seemed a little too extreme, to maybe go back to a balanced Republican Party. You know, the one of John McCain. That's a Republican I would have voted for. I voted for George W. Bush in the first election that he won, because I didn't like Al Gore. The second election, I saw what Bush had done, and I didn't like it, and I changed my decision. I didn't like who was running against Obama in 2008, and I voted for Obama. And in 2014. I didn't like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. I thought they were both horrible candidates. I still think Hillary Clinton was probably the worst candidate you could have ran at any time in my lifetime. Didn't matter. She lost. And do you hear that, guys? She lost. She conceded. In 2020, when Trump lost, L-O-S-T, fairly and squarely, he did not concede. He propagated the big lie. He got a bunch of people pissed off, riled up, and what did you people do? You stormed the Capitol at his behest. You bought the fact and the statement that he was going to march down there with you, and he didn't, like a coward. He sat in his Oval Office eating cheeseburgers, throwing them at the wall, while you people shat on the walls and pissed on the walls and stormed Nancy Pelosi's desk. Now you're in prison. You'll probably be pardoned by this asshole. So good for you, MAGA. You won. So I want you to know something. I believe that the people that voted against Trump, and there's 50% of us who did, you won by 51%, which is a win. Fine. And you won the Electoral College. Fine. But guess what happened? Kamala conceded. She conceded right away. No conspiracy theories, no bullshit lies, no trying to rile up a base to storm the Capitol. She conceded. She let it go. That's what happens in a democracy. That's what leaders do. Leaders are not dictators. Dictators are pussies. And by extension, you are one of them. You heard me. So, that said, I'm sorry, I got a little off tangent there, but maybe I went a little too far. So, but anyway. What happens now is anybody's guess. So, I want us to know that, the balance in this country is going to be off for a long time. Like I said, this channel is mainly about fitness and health. I won't say much about the election. I'll probably chime in here and there with some world events going on, like I am now. But you have to realize that the choice you made, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. And I think time will prove that to you. And I hope it does. I really do. But I don't have any faith in that statement, because of the things he hasn't done up to this point haven't proven to you that it's wrong, that it's the wrong choice. I don't know what will. So I hope you're man or woman enough to understand what you did, to own up to your mistake, which it is, And a year from now, if we're not allowed to stream things like this with free speech like we have now, I don't want you to blame anybody else. It won't be the Democrats' fault. It won't be the liberals' fault. It won't be the extreme left's fault. It's going to be your fault. So, that said, I've said what I had to say about the election. I hope you'll still follow me and not be pissed off at what I said. If you're MAGA and don't want to follow fitness advice, that's all good. I'm fine with that. But for the rest of you, let's get big, let's get strong, and let's polish the fucking armor. Okay? Put your armor on. Let's get in the gym. Let's start training our bodies. Because you know what? A battle is coming. A war is coming. We don't even see it yet. You're going to have to gear up your mind, your body, and your soul for what's coming. And I want you to be ready. So, let's do it, America. Stick together. I think we'll make it through this. And I look forward to helping you out. So, if you are a Stream MAGA and you want to disassociate from my channel, bye-bye. Let's get it, guys. For the real people that want to grow and get better in their fitness, I'm all for it. Follow me. I'm going to lead you the right way. Let's go.